Why is sugar so addicting? If you feel like you just cannot break free from the sugar addiction you've been chained to, you're gonna wanna watch today's video, as well as the video coming up next week, because I'm gonna be sharing some reasons why you definitely wanna reduce sugar to help reduce bloating and have better digestion, better energy, how it supports all aspects of our health when we get rid of sugar. And in next week's video, we're gonna be talking about some very practical ways that you can finally break that sugar addiction. Before we head into my office, I wanted to share my breakfast because it is so easy, super gut friendly, great for gut health and energy, and it literally took me, I wanna say like 4 or 5 minutes to make. I have 3 eggs here for protein. I cooked it all in beef tallow. It's grass-fed beef tallow, great healthy fats. I have some sauerkraut for probiotics for gut health. I have half an avocado for good fats. I have apple, which is organic, and it is great for gut health and microbiome health because it contains polyphenols, which help to fuel our good gut bacteria. It's topped with real salt. Gotta get those minerals in. So I'm gonna eat this and then we'll head into my office. If you guys are new here and you're like, why is this girl showing me what she's eating? My name is Ashley Kleiber and I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, and I help women nourish their bodies so they can overcome bloating, digestive pain, and have abundant energy. If you guys are into that kind of content, I hope you'll subscribe and join the community here. By the way, I often share my meals in my Instagram stories, so if you're not following me over on Instagram, put my handle right here. It's at Flourish Natural Wellness. Go follow me over there because I'm always sharing real-time meals and what I'm making day to day. We're back in my office. I made another matcha, if you can tell the state of my energy and workload lately, but it's really good. Today, I want to talk about sugar. I want to talk about why it has been so incredibly difficult for you to break this sugar addiction, to stop eating sugar, and to finally get control over sugar cravings in your life. And I also want to talk about why it is so important to be reducing sugar and ideally remove the refined sugar. Have had periods in my life where I was so addicted to sugar, so I understand how hard it can be, and I want to tell you that you can totally break this sugar addiction. Fully believe you can do it. I want to shed some light today on why it is so hard to break a sugar addiction and give you some hope and some encouragement that you can actually do it. It is possible. I totally believe you can do it. My clients do it all the time, and it is possible. So I think it's important that we know that it's not just because you don't have enough willpower that you are still eating sugar, or maybe you think you're lazy, or whatever you've heard as the excuse of why you can't seem to finally stop eating sugar. There is a reason for it. There are underlying, often hidden reasons for it, and I want to shed some light on those today. We know that refined sugars are just plain bad for our health in every way. Sugar wreaks havoc on all these systems in our bodies. It negatively impacts our digestive health, our gut microbiome. It affects immunity. It affects our brain function, mental health, our hormones, our sleep, and so many other areas. So you probably know that sugar is not great, but I want to actually give you some reasons why we want to take those steps to reduce sugar intake and break this addiction to sugar for good. So for one, sugar creates insulin resistance and it negatively impacts our blood sugar levels when we eat it. And we are talking about refined sugars here, okay? Not natural sweeteners, not natural sugars, the really processed carbohydrates, okay? That's what I'm talking about in here, not the natural stuff. That is okay. So refined sugar negatively impacts our insulin. Insulin is a hormone that affects not just blood sugar. I talked about this in a recent video. It's not just if you're diabetic, then you need to be concerned about insulin and blood sugar, but everyone should be concerned about insulin and blood sugar and regulating their blood sugar and insulin because it affects every system in our bodies. And sugar is a main driver of insulin resistance and blood sugar dysregulation, and that is going to impact things like energy, gut health, sleep, mood, and so much more. When someone has issues with insulin or blood sugar, then it can lead to hormonal chaos, it can lead to fatigue, weight gain, PCOS, diabetes, and more. Sugar has a negative impact on our gut microbiome. Now, if you're here to help with bloating and gut health and maybe have more regularity and just support digestion. Sugar really fuels inflammation in the gut and drives imbalances in the gut, which then leads to symptoms. If you want to reduce that annoying bloat and have better sleep, better energy, better gut health, we have to reduce sugar. It's gotta go. So let's talk about why you crave sugar. Talking about this can help you better understand, like I said, it's not just willpower. It's not just because you don't have the drive to quit sugar. If you're watching this video, you want to quit sugar, and it is very possible for you. But we have to cut the steady stream of sugar off. Someone becomes addicted to sugar because their brain gets physiologically wired to be addicted to sugar. We are lighting up pleasure centers in the brain, we're lighting up dopamine, and it's a similar response to when someone is using drugs or alcohol. That's how strong of a drug sugar can be to us. So the more we eat it, the more we crave it, and the vicious cycle continues. Now, I don't say this to intimidate you or stop you from trying to quit sugar. You can absolutely quit sugar. It's totally possible. My clients do it all the time. But I just want to lay some groundwork and show you that there are reasons for you not being able to quit sugar. But we're going to kick those, and we're going to help you do that. I was reading in Dr. Caroline Leaf's book, Think and Eat Yourself Smart. She is a neuroscientist. And she says in her book that evidence suggests that processed sugar acts on the brain in similar ways to well-known addictive substances such as alcohol and drugs, where the opioid and dopaminergic systems are upset, which can cause neurophysiological and structural confusion. Okay, so what does this mean? Essentially, sugar's lighting up the brain like drugs and alcohol. Sugar has the ability to impact both the opioid and dopamine areas of the brain. So this is a big deal, okay? That's just to show you that it's not just because you don't have enough willpower that you haven't been able to quit sugar. It's because there are physiological addictions happening, but you can start to break. I don't say this to discourage you from trying to give up sugar or thinking that you're never going to be able to do it. You absolutely can. My clients do it all the time. But I just want to share some groundwork and some information behind why it's probably been so hard for you to kick sugar up until this point. If you have blood sugar imbalances or insulin resistance, it is going to be something that is fueling sugar addiction and these cravings for sugar. Okay, if our blood sugar is not stable, then we have blood sugar spikes when we eat sugar and carbohydrates, and then it dips and we crash and we crave more sugar, and then we have sugar again, and the cycle just continues on and on. And it's something that is perpetually just fueling this problem because we eat sugar, we crash, we crave sugar. We eat sugar, we crash, we crave sugar. It causes a whole host of issues in its wake, including things like energy depletion and, again, gut issues and things like that. So the insulin resistance component here, it's a fancy term. Don't worry about it. It's basically just what happens when your cells in your body do not properly respond to insulin. So you can't take sugar, blood sugar, into your cells for energy. So it's like sugar's kind of hanging out outside the cells, and we're like, why can't we feel energetic? Why can't we get sugar into the cells? That's what happens when we have insulin resistance, and sugar is what drives the insulin resistance. So again, it's kind of like it perpetuates the issue and just leads to more cravings and fatigue, and then you eat more sugar and it makes it worse. So it's a whole thing that we can start to address insulin component, blood sugar component by reducing sugar. Another reason for why you might be craving sugar is because of unhealthy bacteria or candida, yeast overgrowth, parasites, or other imbalances in the gut. Now, it can seem weird to talk about things like parasites and bacteria and maybe a little bit freaky, but most people are dealing with imbalances, if not everybody. Unless you've really, really addressed your gut health heavily, then there's going to be some kind of imbalance. We call it gut dysbiosis, and this drives cravings because if we have unhealthy bacteria and other microbes in the gut, they want sugar because that's what they fuel themselves off of and that's what they thrive on. So oftentimes it's our gut bacteria that are actually dictating our sugar cravings. It's a two-way street because the more sugar we eat, the more the unhealthy bacteria thrive, and then the more we will crave sugar because of those bad guys. It's something we really do need to get a handle on to have a healthy microbiome. Another reason for sugar cravings is not getting enough calories, like not eating enough food of the right foods like protein and healthy fats and fiber, and not getting enough nutrients and having nutritional deficiencies. Nutritional deficiencies happen because we are either not eating enough of the right foods, but also because we are dealing with low levels of nutrients in our soil to begin with, as well as things like stress and toxins. Those will deplete nutrients. And sugar actually robs the body of nutrients too. Things like B vitamins, chromium, magnesium. Nutrients that we need to get a handle on sugar are actually depleted by sugar intake. Kind of crazy, right? Another huge reason for sugar cravings is stress and elevated cortisol levels, or even low cortisol levels too. It goes both ways. But when we have elevated stress hormones, our adrenal glands, which are these little glands above the kidneys, they will release cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone, and when stress hormones spike, it tells our body that we need more energy to create more sugar in the bloodstream, and it will lead to cravings because our body's like, oh, we have stress, we need to make more energy, we need more sugar. So having elevated stress levels will also cause sugar cravings. There's also a lot of other forms of stress, things like physical stressors, like again, not eating the right foods or having unhealthy bacteria, that's a physical stressor, or having liver congestion, things like that, that physically stress the body. That will also lead to overproduction of cortisol and elevated stress hormones. There's also environmental stressors, things like blue light, not getting sunlight, and not getting movement in our day. There are a lot of reasons that we can have elevated cortisol and stress. And if this is something that you guys want to hear more about, it's such a huge factor in burnout and exhaustion and not having energy. If you guys want to hear more about this, just comment down below. I'd be happy to talk more about it. If you are not getting enough sleep, ladies, we're talking like 8 to 9, maybe even 10 hours for some of sleep each night, ideally 8 to 9. This is a really, really big cause of sugar cravings because not getting enough sleep will significantly impact our blood sugar levels, our stress levels, our nervous system, and these things will lead to sugar cravings. So that is a really big area to work on if you're dealing with cravings. Sleep is such a big issue for so many women, and if it's something that you want to hear me share more about and some tips for you guys to improve your sleep for energy, then let me know in the comments. Now, of course, eating processed foods, right? We talk about this all the time, not eating the right foods, eating the processed carbohydrates, packaged foods, the ultra processed foods. Those things are going to fuel all of the things we've talked about. It fuels cravings for sugar because our blood sugar is dysregulated and imbalanced. It increases our bad bacteria. It fuels the bad guys and depletes the good guys in our gut. So it will lead to gut issues and imbalances and dysbiosis. Processed foods will increase inflammation in the body, which then creates stress. And of course, processed foods are going to deplete nutrients because your body has to then process all of these things that you're eating. That is actually a really big stress on the body to even just digest because it's not the way our bodies are meant to eat. There's going to be lots of sugar in there and stuff, so that's depleting nutrients as well. And of course, it's going to fuel inflammation. Processed foods that contain a lot of sugar and refined carbohydrates are also going to cause fatigue, again, because of the blood sugar spikes and dips and just not giving your body the fuel it actually needs to function optimally. So if you find yourself reaching for sugary foods or caffeine kind of midday or mid-morning, then processed foods and just not eating the right foods at the right time can be a really important thing to address. So there are some reasons why you may be craving sugar. There are more, but these are some really big ones I wanted to touch on. And if you feel like you are just chained to sugar cravings, then you're gonna wanna watch my next video, because I'm going to talk about how you can finally break up with sugar and break the sugar addiction in 14 days. I would love to hear in the comments, what has been the most challenging thing for you when it comes to clean eating? Is it trying to reduce sugar, or is there something else that you've been struggling with more that you would like me to talk about? And you might also consider watching this video right here, where I share some mistakes you are probably making when it comes to trying to heal your gut. If you like this video, please give it a like and subscribe to join the community here. Thank you guys so much for being here. And remember, you were made to flourish. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.